How y'all doing today? It's your boy Jermaine from Hognose Hogs back with another video, and we're going to be talking about the albino gene, just showing you what that looks like, as well as what you can get when you combine it to other recessive genes and incomplete dominant genes. So let's see what it looks like. Alright, so let's get started on the albino hognose morphs. And for those of y'all who don't know, this is a recessive gene, very popular in most other snakes, not just the hognose. And basically, albinism is the lack of melanin, so that dark pigment. So you're basically left with an animal that has your whites, your pinks, your oranges, and your reds. And one huge characteristic of the albino gene is those red eyes. So the cool thing about the albino gene in the hognose snakes is just how much variation that they have in this gene. You have some that are yellow, some that are orange, some that are almost a reddish color. And then when you combine it with the different patterns, you can get a lot of different looking snakes with just the base albino gene. So these are two pictures of just what a regular albino looks like. And so now we're going to start adding in some incomplete dominant genes, starting off with the anaconda, which is a pattern reduction. And as you can see, these are two different colors compared to the first slide. And look at the patterns in terms of the anaconda gene. Shout out to JC Hognoses. He has some really cool pattern hognoses. He even have some with the tiger pattern, which I don't have an example of. And then when we go a little further with the super anaconda, if you saw my super anaconda presentation, you'll remember these slides. This is just a complete pattern reduction except for the head stamp. And like I said, look at the different colors that you have with the albino gene, especially the one in the middle, which is the extreme red version, which is my favorite. Now let's get into the other incomplete dominant gene, which is the Arctic gene. So what happens when you combine albino and Arctic? You get this animal right here. So kind of like a yellowish animal. And if you watch my other videos, this is what my snake noodle is. And so let's look at when you combine the Arctic albino with the Conda, and you'll get a pattern reduction. As you can see, look at the different colors. It's just not orange. You have different shades of it. And then let's take it a little further, and you have the Arctic albino super Conda, which has the complete pattern reduction other than the head. And let's stay on to the Arctic gene, and we're gonna do the super Arctic albino. So what happens when you mix these two together? You get more of a pinkish snake. And so we're going to see a snake that looks similar to this later on. But this is just a regular version of the super Arctic albino. Then when you add the Conda gene in it, you get a pattern reduction. Here's some examples of that. And then when we take it one step further, you get the super Arctic albino super Conda, aka the super daddy. And like I said, you get a lot of variation with the albino gene. Now let's start combining the albino with other recessive genes. This right here, this combination is probably the most popular when you mix the albino and the axanthic. So you got the albino, which lacks melanin, and then you mix it with the axanthic that lacks that orange and red pigment. So when you mix these two together, you get the snow. And this is probably the most popular morph combination right now in hognose snakes. So if you want to get into hognose snakes and make quick money, the snow is probably the project that you want to invest in. And so going from left and right, you just have the regular snow, and then in the middle you have the snow Conda, also known as the Yeti, and then to the far right you have the snow super Conda, also known as the super Yeti, which is completely patternless other than the head. All right, next combination, we're going to add the albino to the caramel gene. And one of the characteristics of the caramel gene, not including the color of the animal, is that it usually has a reduced head pattern. So when you mix these two together, you get a snake called the Ultra. And on the left-hand side, you see a regular Ultra. Shout out to Hognose. He's also a content creator on YouTube, so go and check his channel out. And then on the right hand side, you have the Ultra, so the caramel albino with the Conda gene, so a reduced pattern. And this snake right here on the right hand side is a very high expression Conda because you can barely see the pattern. Produced by Gary Morris. And then when you take it a step further, you get the caramel albino super Conda. You get a total patternless snake other than the head stamp. And like I said, the caramel gene reduces the head stamp. So you can see it has very little head pattern. I really like this version of the Super Conda Morph. I think it's very unique. Also produced by Gary Morris. Next, we're gonna add the albino to the Sable gene. And this is, you've probably already seen these in a ton of my videos. When you mix this two together, you get the sunburst. And if you watch my videos, my snake Cheeto, this is what she is. So starting on the left-hand side, it's just a regular sunburst. In the middle, you have the solar flare, which is the sunburst Conda, so a pattern reduction. And then on the right-hand side, you have the Sable albino or the sunburst and the Conda, but also mixed with the Arctic gene, also known as the red rocket. Next, we're gonna add the albino to lavender. And so I think this right here, this project is gonna be very popular in the future. I think a lot of people are starting to breed this. I've seen a lot of people starting to sell animals that are lavender het albino or a normal 100% het lavender, 100% het albino. And so when you mix these two together, you get what's called a coral. And so to me, this snake right here, just looking at pictures, it reminds me of the super Arctic albino in terms of color. But it's a very unique snake, very pink snake. And shout out to Exotic Fire Hogs for these pictures. Next, we're gonna add albino to Toffee Belly. And when you mix those two together, you get a snake called the Toffee Glow. And this is a pretty cool looking snake. As you can see, these are two different animals, but they're the same genetics. And you can kind of see the different color as well as the different pattern. And they were both produced by snakes at sunset. And so, yeah, this is actually an inexpensive combo morph. So definitely something that you can get into. And that is it. Right. And if you want to see my other videos that I've made on a different morphs, all you have to do is just go to my channel, and if you want, you can scroll down, and I have it under a playlist called Morph Showcase, or you can go up top and click playlist, find the Morph Showcase, click the full playlist right here, and you'll see all my videos right here where I talk about the different morphs. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe to the channel, like, and leave a comment. And I'll see y'all for the next one.